All right, Rogue time. Rogue is in an interesting spot. It gains a few very strong cards. I don't think it loses a whole lot with the shift of a lot of things to Wild. And I think it still is one of the best classes in Arena. I don't think it keeps pace with Mage, and so I think it definitely falls behind to like at least second best class in Arena, if not maybe arguably to third. It does not have elemental synergies. It is very tempo-y focused still in a format that I think is slowed down, but it gets some pretty solid tempo cards, and I feel like you can play a pretty scary rogue deck that's very tempo focused, very much focused on just killing your opponent's stuff going face, killing your opponent's stuff going face, and really putting them to the test of being able to find answers to just your 2-drop that you played on turn 2 that just kept going face for 3 turns while you cleared everything that they were going to play. So let's go into the cards and why I think Rogue is still a pretty solid class. Whoops. Biteweed, this is not one of the reasons. This is a pretty bad card. 2-mana combo, gain +1/+1 for each other card you've played this turn. Yeah, but it starts off as a 1/1. I mean, what happens when I play 2 cards before this and then it becomes, what, a 2-mana 3/3? Yeah, it's not really that impressive. I think I can pass on that. Not going to draft this card. Hardly ever. It's just not very good. Envenom Weapon, this card's fantastic, and this is one of the big cards that I think carries this. It's a spell, and it's not an epic, so you're going to see it a decent chunk of the time, and I think you should expect your rogue opponent to have at least one of these in his deck, pretty much always, and probably more likely he has 2. Card is really strong. I mean, even when you don't have a weapon out, you can hero power, and then this becomes a 5-mana sort of assassinate that you get to reuse again the next turn. Yeah, it costs you life because you have to hit whatever their big thing is with your weapon to kill it, right? And that sucks because you're running your face into like an 8/8 or whatever. But consider the upside in terms of tempo, right? One, there's a card advantage upside, which is just that this helps you kill 2 creatures, so it 2-for-1s your opponent. But also, you pay 3 mana for this. Maybe you didn't even you hero powered on turn 2 because you had nothing else to do, or you just hero powered because you at one point you had 2 mana left open. You didn't attack with your weapon because you had this in hand, you were ready for it. And then you kill off your opponent's 6-drop or 7-drop with this, right? And the next turn you're looking to kill off whatever their next big thing is. This card is just straight up tempo advantage in a huge way, right? If you kill off 2 6-drops with this 3-mana card and spent 2 mana on your hero power, you're just up 7 mana worth of stuff, right? That's where you want to be as a rogue, I think, just making these trades that, 1, aren't bad for you in terms of card advantage, but 2, are really good for you in terms of tempo. And because it's a slower format, you're preying upon these guys who are looking for this value attrition-y game. Because 1, you're also challenging them on the axis of this value, but 2, they're not really pressuring your life total a lot, which means if you kill 2 8/8s, right, with Envenom Weapon, yeah, you took 16 damage, but they don't have a way of really capitalizing on it and punishing you, right? So you win anyways because you killed off 2 8/8s for 3 mana. Card is really fantastic. Pick it on tier 1. Pick it up pretty much every time that you see it. It's really good. Hallucination. This card is not. I mean, this card is still tier 1, but it's not the balls amazing that Envenom is. Discover a card from your opponent's class. Class cards are usually better than normal cards, right? The neutrals. You can get stuck with some kind of bad stuff, but you are a weapon class, so you're not left with like the worst stuff where you just can't use it because you don't have a weapon, right? It only costs 1 mana, and I think the flexibility of Discover, even though there's this downside that you don't have control of things, right, that you lose reliability, the flexibility of finding a card that you need, right? You play this against a mage, and your options might be card draw, big removal, and board wipe, right? And you just say, okay, which one of these is relevant for this situation? I think this card is good. I think this is tier 1, not as high on tier 1 as Envenom Weapon, but still, going back to the sort of definition of tier 1, which I sort of repeat in every one of these videos, from the preface video that I made. Tier 1 I'm counting as basically the weighted top third of cards that you're going to be offered in Arena, right? So of the 90 cards that you see in an Arena draft, Tier 1 is sort of that top 30, right? Top 30 effective weight cards. So not the top 30 cards, period, but top 30 by that effective probability of seeing them, of the probability of the 90. If that makes any sense. This is tier 1 by that standard. Again, there are cards I'm going to draft above this, but most often I'm going to be drafting this as opposed to anything else. So Great card. It's going to see a lot of play. Pretty flexible and really strong against a lot of the classes that you are going to see a lot in Arena, like Mage. Right? Mage has a lot of really good spells. Mimic Pod. This card is kind of, it's okay. It's like a tier 2-ish card. I think it's about as good as Arcane Intellect. All in all, it's 3 mana, draw 2 cards. I mean, it happens that one of the cards is just a duplicate of another card, which gives you less sort of freedom, right? Gives you less ways of, planning out your turns, doing whatever. It also takes away some of the element of surprise when your opponent sees your Mimic Pod card. They know what your other card is. So it is a little bit worse than Arcane Intellect, although it does have special relevance in Constructed with the quest and with all the other stuff that's going on. But whatever. I think this card is fine. Tier 2-ish, right? This is sort of, an average card to have in your deck. You're fine with it. Yeah, I think you'll pick it more often than not, but nothing really that exciting. Obsidian Shard. This is also kind of unexciting. I think typically you want to think of this as just a 4-mana 3/3 weapon, which isn't really that exciting. But it is not that far off from a 5-mana 3/5 weapon. Assassin's Blade is a playable card, right? I mean, how much do you care about the extra points of durability when you're smacking things with your face? There's only so many smacks you can get in before you're just dead. If you play this for 3 mana, it's also pretty good. Maybe that happens sometimes. But I think you're willing to take this just as a 4-mana 3/3 weapon because weapons are good in an arena and everyone else is playing slower, dirtly stuff. And so, you can be a little bit loosey-goosey with your life total more than you would in past curvy type formats, very tempo formats, right? Where other people are doing aggressive stuff against you. I think this card is fine. This is like bottom of tier 2, top of tier 3, maybe. Maybe it's just solidly tier 3. It's it's a weapon though, so it's okay costed at the end of the day. Not great, but you'll take removal however you can get it in Arena usually, and this is removal effectively. Razor Petal Lasher. This card feels pretty bad. 2 mana 2/2 Battlecry. Add a Razor Petal to your hand that deals 1 damage. The Razor Petal costs 1 mana. It does not cost 0 mana. So I'm not really super excited about this card. Helps you with combo, but that's really the big thing that it does. You kind of really have to be a little bit desperate to help out with combo. Sometimes you are, but I think you pass on this card more often than not. I'm just not super excited about this. I'd rather play like a Defias Ringleader and just be pressuring my opponent more. Not really big on this card. Certainly not big on this card. Razor Petal Volley. This is a very unfortunate card. It's a common and it's a spell, so you're going to see a lot of this, and it's really bad. Again, the Razor Petals cost 1 mana, so I'm paying 2 mana to add 2 1-mana deal 1 damage spells to my hand. Yeah, that's not good. Great for combo, great if you have like an Auctioneer out, but this isn't constructed. And I think there are easier ways to set up your combo when you're playing Rogue in Arena, so avoid this. It's not good. It's 4 mana to deal 2 damage. Yeah, I'll pass. Sherazin, Corpse Flower. This is also pretty bad. It's hard to get the play 4 cards to revive this minion type thing. It's interesting. It's not that bad in the sense it's a 4 mana 5/3, which is only 1 stat point away from being kind of efficiently statted. So it's not horrible, I guess. If you have the option between this and a bunch of bad legendaries, you probably take this. But it's really hard to make the play 4 cards and turn thing happen in Arena. You just don't have the tools. You're not running like prep sprints or a bunch of stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not. I think this card is pretty bad. I think most people understand it's pretty bad. You're going to want other legendaries above this. When you take this, it's going to be because a 4 mana 5/3 is the best of your options, which isn't going to be that often, but will happen sometimes. Vile Spine Slayer. Now, this is one of the big cards, along with Envenom, that I think really keeps Rogue in the game and really pushes this tempo strategy. 5 mana, 3/4, combo, destroy a minion. Yeah, I would pay 5 mana to destroy a minion. To have a 3/4 body come alongside it, that 3/4 body is worth about 3 mana. This card is just tempo, tempo, tempo. And you do need to have something, some way of comboing this. But even when I play this on turn 6 and I kill my opponent's 6-drop, I'm still pretty happy about that exchange. A 3/4 body is very relevant. And this card's fantastic. Tier 1. Pick this pretty much every time that you see it. Really, really good. That's it for Rogue cards. Again, a lot of weaknesses, I would say. Biteweed is bad. Mimic Pod is only okay. This is also only okay. This one's pretty bad. This one's really bad. This one's pretty bad. But Vile Spine Slayer, and Envenom are so good that I really have to think the class is still going to do a lot of work. And Hallucination is not bad. This card is going to be reach, board clear, a bunch of stuff. Like, it's a pretty good effect. And Mimic Pod is ways of getting more gas ultimately. So I think that the class is really well positioned to play this tempo game off the back of Envenom and Vilespine Slayer, and the strength of its hero power, which still remains very strong. I don't think that it lost enough from the transition that it really needed a whole lot going into this. So I think Rogue is still very strong, still probably the second best class in Arena, still very skill centric because it really does rely upon you properly appreciating your life total as a resource. But still very good. I still like Rogue a lot, and I think Envenom Weapon and Vilespine Slayer are two of the big reasons why it stays competitive in Arena. All right, on to the next class.